Happy New Year, marvelous folks! What a wild ride it's been. Before we begin, here's a toast to another year of curating obscure beasts and sapient species lurking in the eeriest of realms and dabbling into all things sacrilegious and damn. Here's to exhuming lores of gore, forgotten or unexplored. And of course to you guys. Today we've got ourselves a predatory creature whose hellish screeches will make even the monsters from your worst nightmare sprawling under your bed seem dainty and chill. Imagine living in an ecosystem where, during every eclipse, there emerges from the darkest depths of the world, the murkiest of caverns, a vicious, demonic, xenomorph-like alien creature, all set to wreak havoc and go on a rampage for blood. We're talking about the Bio Raptors from the Riddick Trilogy, who inhabit the sun-baked barren heath of a planet called M6117. In this video, we'll be delving into their lives in detail and how they've adapted to an atmosphere that's perpetually unforgiving, navigating harsh terrain in the dark. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our video, please show us your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Now let's get down to business. What is M6117, and how do bioraptors survive its danger? Set about 500 years into the future, the survivors of a freighter transport starship called Hunter Gratzner crash on a desert planet named M6117 after the hull of the ship is shattered by cosmic debris. The planet exists in a state of searing hot daylight, brighter than the most infernal summer afternoons at the equator on Earth. This is due to its galactic alignment with the planetary system of M344G and its position relative to three large stars, rendering the planet nothing short of a furnace, soaking in the sun except during those rare times when the triple suns align in a total eclipse. These eclipses, lasting anywhere from months to even decades, engulf the planet in complete darkness. It is during these rare eclipses, occurring approximately every 22 years, that all forms of life on the planet are wiped out. Well, not all life, as abhorred abominations known as biopredators emerge from the deepest caves in search of prey. As the survivors from the shipwreck seek refuge in a dark cave, they stumble upon a long-abandoned geological research settlement, along with a dilapidated space shuttle which they believe could save them from being stranded in this gruesome netherland. However, they soon realize they're being hunted by the bioraptors nesting beneath the surface. All hope rests on the shoulders of the eponymous criminal convict Riddick, whose surgically modified eyes allow him to see in the dark. Bioraptors are highly photosensitive, almost entirely incapable of withstanding any form of light. Even a faint glimmer can prove fatal to them. This is why they inhabit the pitch-dark cave systems beneath the scorched surface. The Bioraptors first appeared on screen in the initial installment of the trilogy, released in 2000. It's almost ironic how, on a planet that experiences near perpetual daylight, the subterranean monsters are fatally vulnerable to light. Despite the planet's hostile topography and climate, the bioraptors have evolved to claim their place as the only surviving species. Their skin is incredibly resilient, resisting acidic rains and toxic environment. Unlike other creatures that might succumb to such harsh conditions, bioraptors have scales that act as natural armor, shielding them and providing insulation against the elements. This adaptation allows them to endure acidic downpours with ease, as their biology is equipped to filter out and expel harmful substances from the atmosphere. For sustenance, they've developed a metabolism suited to withstand the extreme conditions of M6117. They're highly energy efficient and can endure long spells of drought and deprivation, a crucial survival trait when hunting opportunities arise only during the rare eclipses that occur every 2 decades. What makes bioraptors deadly predators? Adult bioraptors are winged apex predators that mostly prey on faunal organisms crossing their paths when eclipses aren't active. As predators, they're insatiable, and their excessive hunting has turned the planet into a virtual graveyard. During eclipses, they feed incessantly on every living species, causing mass extermination of other life forms on M6117. Due to this lack of food sources, bioraptors are known to engage in cannibalism. The giant cluster of bones bones scattered across M6117 stands as a testament to their carnage and hunting prowess. What's more terrifying is that the skeletal structures suggest that a whale-like terrestrial species once existed, succumbing to this seemingly dwarven race of winged predators, further proving why they're the only surviving species on the planet. Bioraptors have heads shaped like a steel spinning top, extending in every direction, with the upward extension being the sharpest, resembling a long knife or guillotine. Their dental anatomy is horrifying, featuring a massive set of incisors. Their physiognomy bears a stark resemblance to dragons, though unlike dragons, which usually have 5 appendages, bioraptors have 6. They possess razor-sharp claws and a forked, flagellated tail, which is also quite sharp. Their manus comprises 4 fingers with an opposable thumb, each bearing razor-sharp claws. The palm opens into a long, retractable claw used to strike distant targets, either hurtling or hovering menacingly above. Their limbs can be used interchangeably, depending on the circumstance. Bioraptors have no eyes, relying instead on heightened senses to track and scout prey. They navigate using biosonar or echolocation, much like bats, emitting sounds from their mouths that are received by their ears, located on either side of their extended skull. Because the ears are so far apart, they interpret echolocation to access a wider field around them, although this creates a significant blind spot in front of their heads. This makes them dreaded forces in complete darkness, prancing forth with thunderous screeches that can rattle one's head like a boombox. Bioraptors also use their acute sense of smell to locate prey. How do bioraptors navigate and detect prey without eyes? Despite their inadequacies, it's remarkable how bioraptors have adapted to the planet's ecology by capitalizing on their olfactory senses. They've developed an exceptionally sophisticated biosonar system, similar to those used by species like bats or dolphins. In simple terms, when they screech, they emit high-frequency sound waves that bounce off objects around them. By interpreting these waves' recoil, bioraptors can efficiently map and gauge their surroundings in 3 dimensions. Since this is their primary method for locating targets or prey, their echolocation is incredibly accurate, rarely failing, and almost flawless, an inevitable byproduct of years of evolution. This enables them to detect even the slightest flinch or shudder, even in total darkness. Their olfactory system comes into play when echolocation fails. Bioraptors can pick up trace amounts of blood from afar, similar to sharks, indicating their superior olfactory senses. Though not visible to the naked eye, these senses are highly sensitive. Speculations suggest that the extended structure of their skull allows for nostrils to expand, augmenting their sense of smell. Bioraptors also boast a formidable arsenal of tools to incapacitate and outwit their prey. Their jaws are glaringly large, harboring long, sharp incisors capable of mutilating and swallowing humans whole. Their claws are integral to hunting, used to grab prey, while the retractable claws serve as a weapon for long-range attacks. If all else fails, they can rely on their doubly forked tail, which can whip to injure or pierce. What weaknesses make bioraptors vulnerable? Amidst all the evolutionary advancements that the bioraptors could make through the ages, they are not without weaknesses. The most apparent is perhaps their photophobic nature, a negative reaction to light, as even a tiny bit of it can exact a heavy toll on these creatures, resulting inexorably in their death. Photophobia is generally associated with hypersensitivity in the eyes, often due to genetic predispositions. However, the bioraptors do not even possess eyes to begin with. Thus, their photosensitivity can be traced to an underlying issue in their nervous system. This was observed when a flashlight was used on a bioraptor, producing abrasions on their skin. Another vulnerability is their skin. Their bodies appear dark and semi-skeletal up close, which is reflective of their life in darkness and intermittent spells of starvation for days or even years owing to the scarcity of sources of nourishment in the form of other life forms. Nonetheless, they have tough skin, literally so that they had to have developed it to withstand hostile terrain and threats from other species. However, the strength of their skin is not without limitations either. We've seen in the films that the skin is more prone to decay and damage than hardened skulls. This becomes apparent in the scene where Richard Riddick slices through the abdomen with ease, allowing its intestines to spill out in the process and killing the creature. While there's not enough evidence to determine, their weaker internal structure is possibly caused by the lack of readily available sources of nutritional protein due to not having a lot of options to choose from and feed. They feed on what they can for sustenance. The genius of Riddick perhaps lies in the way that these creatures are vulnerable. There's something tongue-in-cheek about how paradoxical it is that the only surviving creatures are photosensitive on a planet that's condemned to an eternity of daylight with occasional darkness that hangs on the planet, and it's the only time that these creatures can rise, brandishing their claws and talons, and the photosensitivity increases as they age. Meanwhile, younger, smaller creatures are shown to exhibit tolerance towards small amounts of light. However, the older and larger monsters will be charged even if it were just a beam of a flashlight. What makes infant bioraptors so deadly in swarms? The bioraptors, being light-sensitive creatures, live in complete darkness, inhabiting the hollow caves and the intricate network of caves, avoiding sunlight. During the total eclipse of the stars, the bioraptors emerge like colossal wraiths and demons of damnation and fill the sky and land of the desert planet, preying on any faunal organism that comes their way. They share a few attributes with the xenomorphs, who, despite not having eyes and mouths, are stretched outwards as well. They also bear some similarities with the stalk-eyed flies, a species of insect found across the continents of North America, some parts of Asia, and southern African region. While adult bioraptors are usually found to be solitary predators, hunting alone, they are formidable and a force to be reckoned with when they hunt in swarms. Those who are still in their infancy exhibit swarming tendencies and prefer hunting in packs, which makes them a vicious wrath of nature. Despite being physically weaker and considerably smaller in size than a fully grown adult bioraptor, it would not really pose much of a threat. Having said that, they do make up for what they lack by scourging in numbers and become nearly an unstoppable force when they arrive in number. Infant bioraptors are usually born in large numbers, and they naturally exhibit an instinctual behavior of clustering together to ensure their survival. Unlike adult bioraptors, who would much rather hunt in stealth and precision, they are an explosive bunch who launch themselves across vast swathes like colossal shell drops, gnawing at anything and everything that comes near them. The infant relies more on aggression and numbers to overwhelm their prey. Hunting in swarms gives them a higher success rate when taking on larger creatures, including humans. They can quickly besiege their prey, making a swift escape incredibly difficult. Despite being an aggressive bunch, their attacks are highly coordinated. They always work in unison to bring down prey. This compensates for their lack of size and strength. However, what's even more unsettling is that since infants are smaller, they're super fast and agile, which makes it even more difficult to contend with them. The proclivity to live and feed in the swarm is an inherent part of their nature and is integral to ensuring survival as they grow into colossal giants. How do adults hunt and adapt to darkness? Adult bioraptors are the apex predators that scour the planet, leaving nothing alive, but they develop more advanced and lethal hunting tactics. At the same time, an infant needs to rely on a swarm and would not pose a significant threat alone. Despite their strength in numbers, they are a frenzied pack, navigating their way in the darkness to survive and are ill-equipped on many fronts. Whereas on the other hand, an adult raptor stands at a greater risk upon exposure to light, and hence they cannot afford to go out of their hibernation until the planet is engulfed in perpetual darkness during the rare eclipses. However, they as adults have mastered the art of hunting in the dark. Like Bane, they were born into darkness, and they were molded by it. So for them, darkness is light. They are at their very best in the dark. And of course, as solitary reapers, they stalk and hunt using their heightened senses of smell and echolocation to locate and trap their prey. As adults, their anatomy ripens to maximum efficiency. Apart from being manifold times larger, their other tools or attributes that are instrumental in hunting are more pronounced, and as such, they have sharper claws and jaws equipped with a huge set of incisors to grind and chew prey in a jiffy. Moreover, with age, they become more mature as hunters, and they have the advantage of oversight and experience to avoid contingencies or casualties. Due to lower levels of oxygen on the planet, it's highly likely that they have hemocyanin, an alternate respiratory protein instead of hemoglobin, present in bioreactors, which causes their blood to turn purple with a strong blue hue. Hemocyanin is found in environments that have a low oxygen pressure. Now, there's something interesting. Although bioraptors' dominance and unchecked predation have caused the life on the planet to succumb to extermination, there is a species that has managed to survive their conquest of gore and managed to evade extinction, and that is a species of glowworms which emit a bright blue light, which is discovered by Fry, Jack, and Abu al-Walid when they were hiding in a cave. It's implied that the glowworms could pull off their survival due to their light-emitting characteristic, which made them unsuitable and unattractive prey for the bioraptor. What is the life cycle and behavior of bioraptor? Bioraptors are seemingly non-sapient, which suggests that they are incapable of higher brain processing, which means that they cannot perform complex actions or thoughts or establish nuanced or intricate modes of communication among their kind. The very fact that they've wiped out all other life forms on their planet is proof enough that they are unaware of the possible repercussions and the consequences, which, in turn, can be treated as evidence to corroborate that they have what we would label and categorize as non-sapient level of intelligence. While hunting, the younglings fly together. Sometimes the number in a flock can exceed 1,000, which is why they can be deadly, as once they reach adulthood, even a lone bioraptor becomes capable of slicing humans in half and hurling them across the air through their combined strength in swarms. They have little to no notion of territoriality, as they tend to work individually, though an attack orchestrated by two is not entirely unheard of. It depends on the amount of food available. This also goes on to show that there is a presiding culture of hierarchy among the bioraptors too, though it's quite possible that at some point a chain of command must exist since they're capable of highly coordinated attacks as well. It can also be assumed that the reason for their hibernation is that it allows the ecology of the planet to restore itself, allowing local glowing slugs time to rebuild their populations just in time before the raptors can feed during the eclipse in the dark, or when they find their way inside the cavernous chambers where they nestle. Now, the adults would, under the circumstances, avoid them, but the juveniles who show greater resistance to light might go on a hunting spree should a cluster of worms find their way inside the dubious caves. The adults would then normally cannibalize their own kind, mostly preying on infant bioraptors, as they would be an easy kill. Since they're the only surviving species on the planet, it can be ascertained that they don't have long before the bell knells for them. Marvelous verdict. The bioraptors are a walking contradiction and are one of the most abominable species from the Riddick Trilogy. Their predation serves as a glaring example of the heavy price that mindless exploitation of resources occurs upon a kind, who are forced perpetually into hiding. Despite their hunger, they're left to starve, scavenge, and cannibalize on their own. However, what's remarkable is their ability to evolve and brave all odds to strike terror into the hearts of those who bear witness to these beasts of doom. Alright folks, that's a wrap. Don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell for more such explanation. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe.